This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
And boom!
Common man, no show pep, no solid plan. Spins a yarn, begins a tale. The esoteric approach won't fail. Tune in, it's time for Common Man. Common man, charge the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot? Where'd we play? Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Sometimes when you practice, you'll set up chairs. When you run through chairs just to show zones and stuff, the Viking defense looks like it's chairs. All the defensive backs covering are just atrocious today for the Minnesota Vikings.
Purple Pride. We'll head to Buffalo, play on the road. I think the weather, of course, having spent a lot of time in Minnesota, I understand the weather pattern. Pick up the Calcutta Clipper, swings down, swings up, lakefront influence. Now, I think we'll probably have about 45-degree weather, so it will not be a typical October 31st in Buffalo.
Vikings are coming, but I'll press back too hard. Okay. Playoffs? Didn't need playoffs? What are you talking about, playoffs? Didn't need playoffs?
Cam Dantzler, what are you doing?
Boy, how disappointing is that?
The Blackhawks.
A dog with a note in his mouth should be able to sell those ratings.
I'm going to say something controversial.
That's interesting.
Nuts and bolts, we got screwed. This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Mark, they can pitch. They can hit. What is with? I mean, come on.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the North. This is the Common Man, Dan Cole.
Circuit Tabori Amsterdam guy, you'll be at will call tonight. At will call. As part of the perks of being a senior staff writer. The Grum begins in 5, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. The 2, 1. Greetings, good afternoon, and ack, and dak to you and yours. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. He's Tenneby, and this is the worst all-sports radio station in the country. So says a former employee who funny was fired from here. I'm a radio dinosaur, La Brea Tar Pit, the Utica City Towers. No, the towers at the West End, I think is what we call them. Someday archaeologists and paleontologists. This is my La Brea Tar Pit. They'll be sifting through the rubble that will be 1600 Utica Avenue South, stumble across my skeletal remains, my fossilized lips attached to the Neumann BCM 104, except no others. They'll say, egad, it's a archaic communication device with a social commentator. We're here until 3. We're back in studio. It's not nearly as wet, hot or humid here, though. Being the temperamental talent that I am, they've been doing work in our studios now for off and on for several weeks now. They're kind of gussying up the place, putting in some wallpapering, and they took down the blinds in here, and So now it's just bright like a hospital room again with the lights on. And it's just like, and Nordo, I'm sure, just loves it. I just despise this. And I don't know if they're ever going back up again. So it's going to have to be just bright and shiny, which I guess matches my personality. You know, that's the kind of guy I am. I'm always happy-go-lucky, kind of always look at the bright side of life. And so maybe this will help. I don't know. But the best part of yesterday, Tenneby, and you witnessed it. So we duck out early. For those of you who weren't with us yesterday, we were at TCO Performance Center, the Vikings headquarters, the new Winter Park. Training camp practice was supposed to start at 2:30 outdoors. It rained and it rained and it rained. It was a rain of biblical proportions, right? So they canceled the outdoor practice and moved it indoors. Well, lightning was in the area off and on all day yesterday as well. And that final one, there were a couple of lightning bolts that couldn't have been more than what seemed like a few hundred yards away, was probably a mile or two, but it seemed real close. So we decided at about 2:45, that's it. We're pulling the plug on the show. We had
not the first time a host has left early before the show's over on the station.
We had a in the hopper. We had a KOC interview from earlier that day, his first news conference from the 2025 training camp. So we just re-racked that, almost like a Paul Allen project kind of a thing, where you just run an interview in the last segment of the show and just go home early, which isn't a bad idea. I kind of like that. If we did more interviews, maybe we would do that. Just start, hey, we'd like to replay this interview starting at 2:30, and then we just leave, right? Just pre-record a close. Hey, hope you enjoyed it. Tenneby, thanks for having me. You do a great job. And we say we're back at noon tomorrow. Big ticket, JGR next. But so as we leave, you're packing up the equipment, and I was going to help you. I got a comment. But as I look up, Rosen's already headed toward the parking. So I don't know if people are familiar with the way it's set up on the practice fields, but our broadcast facility is, how far do you think it is, Tenneby, from where we broadcast to the gate and then the road where we park? A couple hundred yards, probably.
Yeah, I was going to say it's more than a football field.
Probably 2 football fields, maybe a couple hundred yards, 150 yards. And there's a gate that's remotely controlled, right? It's like the Wizard of Oz, the movie The Wizard of Oz. You know, you have to press the button and then someone goes, Viking security, and then you go, Tenneby radio show today, 12 noon, and then you give them your name, rank, and serial number, and they let you in. But there's no microphone on the other side of the gate to leave. So Rosen's just standing there, and it's just pouring on him. He looks like he looks like a wet rat over there, and he turns around slowly and he's looking at you and I'm just astounded that how long do you think he would have stood there waiting for those gates to open? Because he kept looking back at us, then looking at the gates, looking back at us, looking at the gates. He might still be there today at this moment. And all I did was I walked over to the maintenance building, which is, to right the left. Yeah, alongside, on the way to the gate. And I just tap on the window, and all the guys are in there because they can't work now out in the fields because it's raining. Guy comes up, and I go, hey, can you let us out here? He goes, yeah, I'll call security and have them open the gates. I wonder if Rosen, if that would have occurred to Rosen, because he was just drenched.
He looked so defeated.
And he was miserable. And, of course, you know me, I get him going. I go, you're not, speaking of the Wizard of Oz, you're not the Wicked Witch of the West. The rain's not going to melt you. It's just rain. Don't worry about it. But he was just absolutely miserable, and he was soaked. I was soaked too, but he did not appreciate it. Now, how did you get out? Because we just left you in our wake. Did you go there and tap on the window, or did they leave the door open?
That gate was open for like eternity.
Yeah,
up until that point.
Well, because that's what now. Just so you know, I'm looking out for you.
Yeah,
because I said to maintenance guy that responded to my tap on the window. I said, Tenneby's still packing up the equipment. He's going to need to get out here. He said, I'll have them leave it open for a while then. Oh. Because I can only imagine if you went there, walked up, you can't. You're.
And I got the equipment.
You got the equipment, and everything. So
you couldn't get out the door that's next to the gate.
That was lock, stock, and barrel. There was no way out. So it was basically that or scale the wall.
Usually every other day they have security guard there. That obviously just wasn't very busy. There weren't family and friends there.
There was nothing, and so. But to see Rosen It was
just standing there.
Just standing
not
there.
moving.
Getting drenched was just, he was second-guessing his entire decision to come out there. And, of course, I goaded him into it. He was going to come in here, but then, of course, he heard there was construction in here. But he had no interest in driving out there in the rain. And, of course, you know me. I told him just like I told you, it's going to clear up in a little bit here. It never cleared up until, 5 o'clock in the evening, I think. But
after I witnessed you guys getting poured on, I just grabbed one of those black towels the Vikings provided, and I just held it over my head like an umbrella. That worked pretty well.
Do you think that I'm going to get in trouble? I took one of those towels they gave us because I want to use it for a golf towel.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to use it for a golf towel.
Well, that.
They got plenty of them, right? So
Ziggy and Sir Mark will be okay.
I think they'll be okay. So they're really nice. They're black, so they hide the dirt well, too. That's the worst part about using a... And you know me, I think you've seen me. I've got like a beach towel for a blanket.
Yeah,
for a towel. I just don't have a little tiny like hand towel. I got like, you know the kind that you get at swimming pools, at resorts? They're that big. They're just huge. And I don't know why, but I just like having a...
Did you get it from one of the hotels you stayed at?
Sure have, yeah. Well, you know what? As a matter of fact, I got it from the JW down in Palm Springs. And you know what I like best about the JW? It's their soft, fluffy towels. So soft and fluffy, in fact, I can hardly get my suitcase closed. You like that line? That's pretty good, isn't it? I didn't write it. I stole it from somebody. That didn't come as a surprise to you either. But we're back in studio now. We're going to try it again tomorrow. I looked at the weather forecast. It looks promising for tomorrow. So, again, day 3 of practice. I'm not sure how it went today. Is it possible that Chip Scoggs will join us tomorrow out at training
I think it's possible, but I think it's a fluid situation.
Okay, right, because he's very busy. They're covering Vikings training camp for the Fish Wrap Factory on the west side for good or ill. He had planned to join us yesterday, but with everything moved indoors, he needed to stay there. So, they call it a wet, I guess yesterday was the true definition of a wet blanket Wednesday because it was soaking wet, or a wet towel Wednesday. Mark Rosen should make his triumphant return around 2 o'clock today. Other side of the break, controversial Vikings news. We've got Peek at the Purple and much more to get to, though. Right now, Tennessee, I think you have a keyword you'd like to pass along to the listening audience.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword bank at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That keyword is bank. Enter now, KFAN.com. Mall of America's mystery cards are back, and we are bringing them to you all summer long. Come grab yours at KFAN events throughout the summer and wherever you see our KFAN street team. Then make sure to redeem them at Mall of America for fun prizes and big discounts. See full list of events at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common. He's Tennessee. We are here until 3. Before we do Peek at the Purple, I hear, Tennessee, that I was, and I guess you would by guilt by association, would have been accused of this as well. Someone sent me a text message that said, oh, wait, now hold on, because I think you're gonna be interested in this. I know I can pin these, but I get so many emails coming or text messages coming in that it's hard to know how fast they come in at breakneck speeds, and so it's hard to keep up with them. And anyway, this one says, after you deserted the show yesterday because of lightning, you were described as soft on the air. So now, who would that be? Would that have been?
I would guess
the show of
Burrow and Gerdsey after, or it might not even been Gerdsey. It might have been Blakemore yesterday.
Now, think about this. Again, Blakemore, Barrero, or JG, whoever it was, describing somebody else as being soft. Now, think about that. Think about that. And the other thing is, ask anybody who's been struck by lightning. Well, you probably can't because they're probably dead. So it's not like it has nothing to do with a toughness thing. It's just being sensible. It's like when there's lightning bolts popping all around you, it's probably a better idea to just seek shelter.
It's like, am I soft because I wear a seatbelt when I drive my car?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's just like, and again, I guess that's their idea of comedy. That's funny still. That's what Deuce does when I tell him a bad joke. He'll go, So, yeah, that's funny. They said we were soft. Come up with better material than that if you can't, but that's a whole other story in itself. Peek at the Purple 10B is brought to you by friends at Affordable Electric. Speaking of electric, you want to get a taste of what it's like? They're shockingly affordable. They're looking for journeyman electricians. Terrific pay, excellent benefits, a great place to work. It's a family-owned and operated operation. Go ahead and apply today at affordable-electric.com, affordable-electric. And remember that affordable electric is, hold on, you ready for it? Oh, boy, here we are, shockingly affordable. You know, I tend to be, look, I'm as guilty as the next. I think you're as guilty as the next. We all here at this radio station, once training camp starts, we start getting really Viking-centric, really start lasering in on the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. And I sometimes, though, wonder how... I'm trying to pull up the Athletic, but I can't get
the
it.
what?
My phone is on the. It won't allow me. I'm just getting a blank screen. But anyways, maybe I accidentally hit Wi-Fi off or something, or Bluetooth or whatever the case may be. But I don't need to have the story itself. I think it was Alec Lewis, and he was reporting on, I think, 7-on-7 yesterday, and just And I'm not ripping Alec, okay? I'm not ripping anybody that has to do that for a living, go in there and scribble notes and then write a story about it, right? But just the breathless coverage of the first day of training camp with 7-on-7, when I don't think there's no tackling going on, right? There's no pads on, there's nothing, and guys are running routes and guys are throwing balls, and it's almost as if we're trying to make determinations on how far along, in general, the Vikings are offensively, specifically J.J. McCarthy. And I'm still having trouble because the story popped up and now it won't let me get it.
While you're looking for it, I was gonna make up the same point yesterday, because when Rosen was on with us, he made a comment a couple times of how exciting, he's so excited to see J.J. McCarthy throw his first pass. And I'm thinking to myself, he's not a rookie.
Yeah.
Right? Like last year, if he was going to be the starter and he was coming in for the first time, and we'd never seen him against professionals, but like we've seen him play before. We saw him play in a preseason game, and he looked great in the preseason game. So this is not our first look at J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, and also the idea of, maybe being excited for... the pre-season, it's training camp. It's like Oda's, and it's all that. I mean, it's all necessary apparently to try to get rhythm and timing going between players and such. And I'm sure there are probably, I think most teams don't come back with the exact same playbook every year, right? You tweak things a little bit. You add some plays, you subtract some plays. A lot of it's depending upon the personnel that you have, right? If you've added a fierce pass rushing, Rock or Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman, you might work on that. You know, if you've added a precise route running, sure-handed pass catching tight end, well, then you might add some more passing plays, correct? But I just don't think anything that's done in 7-on-7. I mean, I would hope he completes a few passes in 7-on-7 when everybody's kind of going at 3/4 speed, because if he can't do it, then that's going to be trouble. And by all accounts, he made some nice throws. The scary part is apparently the backups were throwing interceptions, and it's like, and that'll happen because the defensive guys are trying, right? They're also trying to, they're working on their games as well. But you know, it reminds you though, and this isn't just the Vikings, because again, we really don't know what we have as a starter, to be honest. I mean, we know we have a very successful high school and college kid. But after that, we really don't know much. And I think he'll be fine. I don't think it's going to be Christian Ponder 2.0. I don't think so. I'm not necessarily ready to say it's going to be Josh Allen either, right? It's probably somewhere in between. But it does remind you that, and
that's a pretty big range there, right? Josh Allen to Christian Ponder.
And we're not the only team that probably has to deal with this. once you get past your starting quarterback, you're pretty much done, so aren't you? I mean, can you name me one really good backup in the NFL? There's probably a handful, right? But anybody that's pretty good as a backup is probably vying for a starter's job somewhere. So if your number one quarterback gets knocked out for the year, you might as well start thinking about
this is the one franchise where that it has gone against that, though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, Randall Cunningham took over for Brad Johnson in 98.
Yeah.
Case Keenum took over for Sam Bradford in 2017. So we've actually had some success here with the backup quarterback.
Yeah. I guess that's a good point. But I would just say...
But I generally speaking, you're correct.
I would say, once you lose your starting quarterback, I think you're in some trouble.
Can I read a J.J. Watt tweet from this morning regarding... Because we are now to the point where reporters are reporting all the different, especially the quarterbacks, right? He went 9 for 13 today with a touchdown and an interception. Here's what J.J. Watt tweeted today. He said, training camp stats are insane and ridiculous. Used to think it was always just people joking, but now seeing them seriously reported. You have no idea what the purpose of that period is, what the goals are, what the context is, etc. It could be a strictly third and long blitz period where every play is skewed to the defense's advantage. Coaches could be asking the quarterback to focus specifically on one route concept. D-line may be focusing only on bull rushes one day or just speed rushes for one period. More importantly, practice is for practicing. You're supposed to fail. You're supposed to try new things, see what works and what doesn't work, etc. If you only do what works, you'll never grow, adapt, change. The entire point of training camp is to build and grow towards the season so that you perform your best when the real games start.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's I sort of kind of said that without saying that. And I couldn't agree with you more. So much is put in, and that even takes it into another level of what's going on. He's explaining why. You know, I say I really think this 7-on-7 stuff is kind of meaningless as far as trying to decipher anything as far as how good a player is, particularly in this case the quarterback. And then he even took it down a couple. He took a deeper dive on it, took it a couple layers deeper, and said they might be working on this, they're working on that, a little this, that, lad, and so what? It's just too difficult to determine what players are doing. I guess you could say that it's better if the quarterback gets through all of these drills and does a nice job rather than struggles with them. As a matter of fact, I think what Lewis wrote in one of the pieces was one of our quarterbacks play took a while to develop, or there was trouble getting the call. I don't know what it was, but it didn't run smooth as silk. But I can't put a whole heck of a lot into any of this. If anything, it would even the preseason games don't mean that much anymore either, because they stay vanilla, and nowadays most of the starters, if not all, but certainly the big names don't participate at all because there's too big a risk of you'd rather get, I guess, you don't want to get injured at all, but you'd rather have it in a regular season game than in a meaningless preseason game. We'll pause. We'll come back. By the way, Peek at the Purple brought to you by our friends at Affordable Electric. If you're looking for work, they're looking for journeyman electricians. Affordable-electric.com. Affordable-electric.com. Remember, Affordable Electric is shockingly affordable.
Get ready. Comedian Nate Bargatze is bringing 2 nights of laughs to XL Energy Center. Don't miss out on the hilarity when he takes the stage on Saturday, July 26th and Sunday, July 27th with the Big Dumb Eyes World Tour. Limited tickets are still available. You can get all the details now at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Couple 13-14 pass, Common Man program. I'm Common. He is 10B. I've received a couple 13-14 text messages wondering about Wheel of Topic. They didn't hear it spin today. Let's just say 10B, 77 Sunset Strips. Played pretty well. Club is my brush, ball is my paint, course is my canvas, press rig at Wedgwood and Woodbury. I'm close. I'm trending. My putting has been better than 75% of the tour pros playing right now. Speaking of that, can you dig up a leaderboard for the 3M Open?
Yeah.
First round action. Let's take a look at that. I had so many putts just crease the lip today, just like you see on TV, but it's trending in the right direction. So I appreciate you asking. Number of people are also wondering would I like to share my thoughts on Hulk Hogan? Apparently, the wrestler died today, I think, of a heart attack at age 71 down in Clearwater, Florida. I'm not going to do that fraudulent thing and act like I know much about. I mean, I know he was a professional wrestler, and he was probably one of the most iconic, most popular. Is it WWE? Is that what it's called? I stopped following wrestling. Somebody else texted me today or called me to let me know that Hulk Hogan had passed away, and I said, I feel bad, but I don't have any memories of Hulk Hogan, because once I learned when I was like, I think it was 12 or 13, that wrestling wasn't real, I stopped watching. It didn't do anything.
He was a
for
big,
me.
strong actor. That's basically what he was.
And he was really good at it. I mean, he was, like I say, I mean,
for my generation, he was the biggest thing out there.
Yes, that would be your generation, right? For me, it was, Larry Henning, Larry the Axe Henning and handsome Harley Race, Dr. X, Vern Gagne, the Crusher, the Bruiser, Mad Dog Vachon. Those were the guys that I watched. But then Hogan and Ventura were in the same era, weren't they? I think they probably wrestled each other, did they not?
A little bit, towards the end of Ventura's era, beginning of Hogan's.
Okay, so,
Hogan really, and maybe you can speak more than I, because you were older at the time, but it seems like he brought wrestling into the mainstream a little bit more at that time, and that's when wrestling really took off.
Well, now it's still as big it's a multi-billion-dollar business, right? Don't they do like WWE Slamdown or Slamfest or something?
SmackDown
or whatever it is.
SummerSlam.
Yeah, they do this. I mean, it's everywhere. But he was a hell of a character, right? I think he probably...
He'd rip the shirt off when he got in there,
my guess is he had a reality show. He had a social presence. I mean, I guess you could say he was larger than life. But for me to say, what did Hulk Hogan mean to you? I never watched him in the ring once. Never saw him. But
to your point, like when I was a child, he meant a significant amount. But then you get to the point where you're like, oh, none of this is real. And then I don't think he really means anything to you anymore. At least for me. I didn't keep holding on to.
Right, yes. That's exactly it. So, again, may he rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. A lot of people are that was even like when, we had Oak on for emergency rock talk when Ozzy Osbourne died. I wasn't a huge Black Sabbath guy. Couple of tunes. I think I told you, you've heard me say this a million times. Maybe not a million, maybe a couple 13, 14 times that, there are all sorts of bands that I enjoy, and they're in a category I call a half a dozen. I like about a half a dozen songs. And I guess Black Sabbath would be in that. I don't even know if I could find a half a dozen I like. But like Oak always says, and it's not that I didn't like Ozzy Osbourne, Black Sabbath. I guess I just didn't like them. The music.
Well, for me, that genre of music is not for me.
Yes, it's just not for me either. And so, though I did like, I liked Iron Man. I am Iron Man. And so that was cool. But, it wasn't like it was near and dear to my heart. Nonetheless, anybody's passing is still something, especially if they are if they are noteworthy, they have accomplished anything. We certainly like to mention who they are.
You wanted the 3M Open?
Oh, yeah. What do we have got going there so far?
They're going scuba low today at TPC Twin Cities.
Let me interject real quick. Not only is it for these guys, it's not the most difficult course in the world. Now it's just soft, like me and you yesterday for leaving because of lightning. We're really soft. That course with all that rain has got to be. They're just throwing darts at those greens right now, I bet.
Well, apparently that's what Adam Svensson did today, because he shot an 11 under 60. So Adam Svensson.
Where's the Who thing? I don't have it on my soundbar. I can't find it. Who? What's his name?
Adam Svensson.
Good for Adam.
He's Canadian.
Okay.
He did, he eagled 18, it looks like. I thought that was a bogey for a second. He eagled 18 to finish off with an 11 under 60. He is 2 strokes ahead of Sam Stevens.
Who?
And Chad Ramey.
Who?
Stevens a 9 under 62. Ramey still on the course. He is 9 under through 15. And then you have a bunch at 6, 5, 4 under. You get names like Ricky Fowler, Kurt Kitayama, Taylor Dixon at 6 under, Ben Silverman, Mac Meisner and Max Homa, along with Emiliano Grillo, Adam Hadwin, and Luke Clanton. They're all at 5 under. And then a bunch at 4 under. We'll just say like Kevin Kisner.
Yeah.
Tom Kim is 4 under. Gary Woodland's 4 under. And I don't recognize most of those other names.
So wait, now, I thought the Kisner guy had given up golf and he was in the booth for NBC now. Isn't he one of their main analysts? Maybe decided to play again. Then he said, you know what? I qualify. I'll go ahead and stick a team around here. So,
get a chance to make some cash.
Yeah. So, TPC.
Your guy, Frankie Sappin, has yet to tee off. Yeah. He tees off, it looks like at 2:11 today. Tony Finau, 2 under 69. He's tied for 36. Siwoo Kim also at 2 under.
Okay. So, by the way, we'll be broadcasting live. I say we, it will be myself, a master professional, Craig Warrion, Minnesota Golf Hall of Famer, and then, of course, Ping Guy, Paul Peterson, who we affectionately call Ping Guy. We'll broadcast live from TPC of the Twin Cities on Saturday, 10 to noon, third round action there. I think this Saturday we've got Jaime Diaz scheduled to join us from Golf Channel, golf historian. He wrote for every golf publication, I think, on the planet. Was the editor of a couple of them. So he's very he's highly regarded, Tenneby, and he's really good at what he does. So we look forward to having him on the air again. He's been with us on a number of occasions. I saw today Bobby Nightingale. He writes. He's a beat writer for the Twins, for the Fisher Factory on the West Side. And we're getting into that area now, Tenneby. We were talking about it yesterday ourselves, last couple of days. Are the Twins, are they buyers or are they sellers? And if they were sellers, who would they sell? I think there's a better chance they're sellers than buyers. This team has never been very aggressive, even when they have felt as though, when the team has been in a good position where there's like, hey, they're in the hunt for either a division title or a wild card playoff spot. They've made trades over the years, but as we've talked about, they've never made any significant trades where eye-opening ones where you go, oh my gosh, we went out and got him, that pitcher. Are you kidding me? That everyday player. We don't do that. I would not think they would do that now either. To me, the big question becomes, and it was sort of raised in Nightingale's piece, is if the Twins do decide to be sellers, what is their ultimate strategy? Are they tearing down completely and trying to rebuild again? Remember, the teams on the they're on the auction block. They're up for sale. At least the team has said they are. And we've heard reporting recently, even as in the last week and a half or so, that, I think it was the commissioner of Major League Baseball said he firmly believes that a deal will happen, and a deal will happen sometime in the very near future for the Twins. And so then you have to decide, I've made the comparison to like, if you're selling something, you generally don't invest a lot of money into it, right? I mean, like if you're gonna sell your car, you're probably not going to buy brand new tires for it and sell it because you probably won't get that money back out of it. I don't expect the Twins to go out and trade for any big name players. The question I think becomes: are they going to trade any of their? They don't have a lot of them, but they do have some highly regarded players: Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, Carlos Correa, Joe Ryan, Lopez, Duran, a couple of their relief pitchers, Jax. These are players I think that other teams would be interested in. But are the Twins ready to part ways with them? Or would they say, look, here's what I think they'll probably do. I think they'll just play it out with who they have. I don't think they'll be in the buyer or seller market much, if at all. And then just wait till next year and see if they can sell the team. I don't expect any splashy trades coming or going with the club. See what I'm saying? Do you agree with that? Or do you think... I just because I think they're sort of almost in a holding pattern with the team up for sale.
I could see some minor pieces being sent. Like, even though they're going to sell the team, I still think, that still might be months and months away.
Right.
And they can still cut costs on the current season. So, it wouldn't make sense to me to trade like a Joe Ryan because he's only making $3 million this year, and you'd like to have him as part of your long-term future to who's ever going to buy the club. But I could see, a bullpen guy, a Chris Paddock, right? Like, it kind of makes sense if you are going to be in sell mode to send a guy like Paddock, who's probably having like a career year, and you can kind of sell him high while you can and try to get something in return for him. But, Buxton's not going anywhere. I don't think you can trade Carlos Correa. I don't know if anyone would take on that salary at this point, given the production he's had.
Yeah, I would agree.
Royce Lewis, he's starting to turn around a little bit. I still have strong hopes for him long term. So, it'll be like your Willie Castro type, Paddock or a reliever, or multiple.
Yeah.
But, even your starters now, we're already without Pablo Lopez. Just put another starter on the injured list, and Festa. I guess Bailey Ober is coming back at some point soon, but
I guess I don't know if I can exactly see. I still think with the team up for sale, I think that leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Because I think what the point I was trying to make is, if you're selling something, is it more valuable if you have some really nice pieces on that team? Would you want to strip everything down and go, like you say, Joe Ryan's not on the big money deal, but you'd like to shed the salary of Correa. Maybe you just want to, you would like to, if you were keeping the team, I think your approach to the trade deadline and beyond is different if you're not selling the team. And I don't know how they're thinking. I think that's the trouble with I think this trade deadline over others. Because like I'd mentioned last week, if you were selling that Twins team to me, Tennessee, I'm going, I'd like to have a baseball team. They got a nice nucleus there. They got Joe Ryan and Pablo Lopez and Duran and Jax, and they've got Correa and this and that and the other thing, and Lewis. Then all of a sudden, you trade Joe Ryan and you trade, let's say you traded Byron Buxton, which I think you're right, they probably wouldn't. Well, then I don't think the team's as valuable to me anymore. And I was like, well, now I'm buying a team that they seem like they're going to need a lot of help with free agency and the farm system to get them to be an even an average team at best. So that's why I just don't know if I can predict what they would do. Historically, if they knew they weren't if they weren't in the market to sell the team, I think they would probably be sellers, and like you say, it would be minor pieces. It would be, and they would keep everybody else. But I don't know. Here's another thing that I wanted to bounce off you. It's a text message that just came in. It says, the Twins being for sale is a myth when you say something is for sale, but then set the asking price so ridiculous that no one will pay it. They're really not for sale. It's just a smoke screen current ownership is using as an excuse not to invest in the organization. The Twins will be stuck in for sale mode for years while the owners make millions off ticket sales. That's been brought up before on this show, and there's a lot of truth to that, right? I mean, you could tell me your used golf shoes are for sale, but if you say I'll take no less than $100, I'm not going to buy them, and no one's going to buy them. That asking price of 1.7, though I still don't think that that's that outrageous of a price for that, because wasn't it
that's what the Rays are going for?
Yeah, weren't the Rays going for that? And they don't even have a stadium to play in right now.
Are they any more valuable than the Twins?
I don't think they are. Yet they sold for, I think it was 1.7.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well, and even at the All-Star game when Rob Manfred did his press conference, that he does every single year at that time, I don't have the exact quote, but he made it seem like there's something coming down the pipe here with the Twins.
Yes.
selling the franchise. That could be in a couple, couple months here.
That's before the break. Or maybe just before that. That's I brought that up. That he had said he had made it sound like something was almost imminent.
Yeah,
that he had it under good authority that the team was going to. Do we do an emergency Brian Oak?
For what?
This did happen. Chuck Mangione, American jazz musician, dead. He was a flugelhorn player, trumpeter, and composer, born November 29th, 1940, died July 22nd, 2025. Do I have my years right this year? Because yesterday I misreported that John Mayall had died. He did die on July 22nd, Tennessee. Only problem was it was July 22nd of 2024, not of 2025. You're probably not familiar with Chuck Mangione, are you?
Never heard of him.
He had, I don't know what you would call it. He was kind of a soft jazz kind of a guy. He had a number of big hits on the charts. He had a song called, how did it go? Da 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 da. I do a pretty good Chuck Mangione for you, but yeah, Chuck Mangione, gone but not forgotten, dead at the age of how old was he? 1940.
84.
84 years old. So I don't think you see a lot of instrumentalists like that cracking the Billboard Hot 100 anymore like Chuck Mangione did back in the day. I mean, he was actually, we played the songs on the radio. Here's the latest from Chuck Mangione. They were just instrumentals. It was just him playing his flugelhorn or his trumpet. He wasn't really, there were no lyrics to the songs or anything like that, but Chuck Mangione dead. So the angel of death, he'll be back with us. That'd be Brian Oak. He'll be with us next Wednesday for a bit more rock talk. Now, tomorrow we're at training camp. That means we're not going to do, Lil B will not be there.
No.
Oh boy. Oh no, not that, anything but that. And there'll be no a program password. And I did tell you, right, that I am going to work that Friday at the State Fair. That's all been changed now. So you don't have to, we can go ahead and do program password out at the State Fair on that first
the
Thursday.
22nd?
Yeah, I am absolutely positively going to be at the fair now.
Okay.
But I'm going to be out August 4th because I have to do the Coalberry tournament for a Hope
put that in.
Yeah, so put that in. So Monday the 4th, just swap that day out, but I'll be there. I'm looking forward to the Minnesota State Fair. Legendary Mark Rosen will join us at 2 o'clock. Tennessee, you got some 534 for us?
Yeah, let me start some music first.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yes. What was the Wolves' biggest mistake?
Well, 534 is only like a 10-minute segment. How are we going to get through all the mistakes they made? 534 is next here on the Fan.